Hi friends, welcome back to Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Davine and I homeschool 4 kids ages 11, 12, 13, and 15. And this year they are in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. Now you'll have to excuse me if my voice sounds a little grainier than usual. I am sort of in the midst of a cold right now, but it's getting better. And I planned this collaboration, so I needed to make a video. So I hope that my voice is not too grating and that you can enjoy the information regardless of the voice that I have right now. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you our current homeschool schedule or routine or whatever you may want to call it. Now, we are more of a structured homeschool. I wouldn't say it's school at home, but I have 4 kids and we have like ADHD and autism and just kids that really need a schedule and just very clear expectations. So we are not a super go with the flow sort of family. Even on days that are not homeschool, we always have a routine. And so that has continued on in our homeschool since we started homeschooling. Now, even though I wouldn't consider myself new to homeschooling anymore, we are going into our 5th year of homeschooling. I still enjoy seeing people's schedules and routines, though particularly when I hadn't homeschooled yet, I was very curious about this. I wanted to see sort of what a homeschool day might look like. So here's the disclaimer. Everyone's homeschool day, every family's homeschool day is going to look different. Every family has a different amount of flexibility, different things going on in their lives, whether it be kids that need extra support, kids that don't need extra support, maybe kids have tons of extracurriculars, kids that can do things on their own more easily, kids that need more help, the span of age of kids in your homeschool, and just your family, the way you guys live and your lifestyle will all determine the type of homeschool schedule or routines or more of a flow that you have in your homeschool. So because I like to see what other people's homeschool routines or schedules look like, today's video is a collaboration hosted by myself and Shauna from Homegrown Homeschool. So I'm excited to see what everyone else posts in this collaboration. There will be a playlist in the description box below that you can check out after you watch this video, just to see a range of how people schedule out their homeschool. And I'm sure you'll see different ages from young kids to older kids, and it might give you some ideas on things that might work in your homeschool or might not work. You might say, well, that would not work for our homeschool. So today I'm in front of my computer here. This is my computer recording location. I'm going to be turning you around and showing you my schedule that I make on like a spreadsheet. Now, I don't want you to be scared by the schedule. There are times on this schedule and we are pretty close to those times, not because I'm like timing us and have an alarm that goes off, but just because I have been doing this we've done it 4 years now. And every year we tend to adopt a pretty similar schedule. We will tweak things here and there, but we have a pretty good idea of how long we can do something for. Now, I don't schedule out my times based on the curriculum per se. I schedule out our times based on my kids' attention spans, and we make the curriculum fit within how long I feel like I have my kids' attention. So that means that some curriculums we do not complete each year. Some we try to do like math, so I try to allot enough time for that. That being said, you can still only do so much math. So the timelines here are not saying that we finish a whole lesson during that time. It's saying that this is about how much time we typically spend on this topic before I know we need to move on. And in my mind, it's more of a block schedule. You're going to see things like up to the 15-minute mark, but in my mind, it's more of a block schedule. So during this block, we do these things in this order. And if we run out of time and we need to go do something else, we'll just stop. And the next day, we'll pick up some of these things again when it comes to that block. Also, before we go and look at my schedule, I need to talk about a few extra things that we have going on this year that we haven't had in the past. And these are some things that are going to make our schedule more even unique than in the past it might have been. So if you've been with me for a while, you will know that my oldest daughter is actually now attending they call it a parent partnership program in this area. It is a public school, but they only go twice a week, and then they give you homework on the other days. And it's a parent partnership because they do expect parents to be more involved, and we are in charge officially of one of her electives as well. That being said, on the 3 days she's home, she's still joining in with our group subjects and family subjects, and I have some things that I have her working on the side just to keep working on some areas that she needs help with. So that is one huge change to our schedule. 2 days a week, I'm driving her about 30 minutes to go to school. And because I'm driving 30 minutes, I am not going to be doing 2 hours of driving. I'm not going to drive 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, and then go pick her up again. So my boys who are in 6th and 7th grade, they are not as independent workers, as well as I can't leave them home when I'm driving, so I have them anyways. So what I decided to do this year was to take our school on the road with my 2 boys and when I drop this daughter off at school. So right now, 2 days a week, I'm taking my 3 kids and I'm driving my daughter to school, and then I have my boys with me during the rest of the day until she gets off at 2. I'm booking a conference room at the library because you can just book them. It's not for profit. And if it's available, they'll let me book it. And it's actually a beautiful conference room. I'm so happy with it. It is perfect. It has a table about the size of our home table. It has a huge TV that I can connect my computer to so we can do World Watch News and things like that we normally do. And then I have this like tool tote thing that has wheels that I can put all my literature-based curriculum in and all the subjects that I'm doing specifically with my boys in it. So we've done 1 day of this so far, and it has worked really well. I had the room for 3 hours. It was very comfortable. We did work. We took a break. They'd wander around the library, come back, keep doing work. So that has worked really well. So that was one complication in our schedule. That is one that I knew about. So I was able to place that in my normal schedule. So I have a normal schedule, and I'll tweak and adapt it each year or as needed. And then I added those Monday and Wednesday, kind of how I'm going to do school on those days with my boys in particular. Now, my 8th grader, she is very independent. She is doing high school level work. I can give her the work and she will get it done, and she will ask me what she needs to ask me when I'm available, and she's very happy to be home on her own during those days. She does like a little more peace and quiet, so she gets 2 days where she just knows she's home on her own and she doesn't have to listen to the yelling or the chaos that some of my other kids bring. And then she also doesn't have to do group work on those days, so she knows she has those days to just focus on her independent work. So that's Mondays and Wednesdays, and I'll kind of show you a little bit more in detail once I turn you around. And then there are other things that I knew had to get into my schedule, and I was not sure how this was going to work. I really enjoy our group time. We do a lot of stuff together as a group. I would say up until now, half of our school is together as a group. We do Bible, science, geography, history, just so many things together as a group. And I was really sad to have to lose 2 days of that. So I was really guarding the last 3 days that I had, and I really did not want anything to happen in the morning. However, I have 2 kids that typically have speech only during the school year, occupational therapy, and then we are also part of another parent partnership program for my younger kids. So this is the one that we've been in since we kind of started homeschooling, kind of a year into homeschooling. And so my 3 kids are still at this one because it goes up to 8th grade. And then my 9th grader decided she wanted to go to this other one. So I have 2 school districts that I'm shuffling. And so for this parent partnership program, we just have to do 1 class a week minimum. And this year, the class that fit best with our schedule and didn't interfere with our mornings, and there's only 2 days to choose from, so they have classes on Wednesdays and Thursdays to choose from. And so Thursday afternoon, like 12:30 to 2, was chemistry. And thankfully, all 3 of my kids who are still in this partnership program, they can be in the same class because it's 6th, 7th, 8th graders. And so they're going to be at a high school doing chemistry, probably experiments and labs, so that should be fun. So that fit into our Thursday. And then I needed to fit these other ones, so speech, OT, things like that. And also I have 1 to 3 kids that also I prefer to be in counseling whenever possible. And so I wasn't sure if I was going to get any of the counseling in. And so I just have to say that As I was very overwhelmed with when things are going to be put into these slots, and as different teachers and different programs were contacting me and asking me about my schedule and when we would be available to do speech or OT and things like that, they were always offering me the best possible times. I keep telling my friends that if I had had to schedule all of these myself, I wouldn't have even known when would be the best time to schedule things. But I just feel like God's hand has been on our schedule, and He just kind of said, "Don't worry about it. I will arrange it all." And so not only did I get a good time for our parent partnership class that my three kids go to, the speech, the occupational therapy, and then the other speech, and then an additional counseling session. Just the times they offered me were just like perfect. So I was really happy about that, and I'm just really grateful to God for like orchestrating our schedule and making things just seem like they're doable. Okay, so let's look at my schedule. I apologize if it seems overwhelming to some of you. For some of you, that you're going to be like, "Wow, you guys have a lot of things going on," and for some of you, you're going to be like, "Oh, wow, that's nothing." Our lives are so much more complicated than that. And for some of you, it's just going to be something that's like, "Oh, yeah, I can relate to this." So hopefully, a lot of you can relate to this, and you will be able to see maybe some, I don't know, get some ideas from my schedule or just get a peek inside our homeschool week. So let's get into it. So here it is. So Monday and Wednesday, I'm going to go over that first with you just because it's Monday. So we leave the house not at 7:45, but about 7:55. And at this point, I have scheduled, we're going to be listening to an audiobook of our history. So that's a child history of the world. We're doing ancient and medieval world history right now. So we listen to about 15 minutes of that. And then we have an audiobook that's going on. And so we are doing Book Shark G. And so there are read alouds and readers and things like that. And so I'm just going to take every read aloud possible that we can do. And we're going to be doing the audiobook on the way to school and on the way back if we need to keep up with as many of these books as we can. So that works well. My kids are still kind of groggy. I have some kids that have medication that it just helps them have some time for the medication to kick in before they're ready to really think too hard and do some hard work. So we're starting off with that in the car on the way to drop my daughter off at school. And then we do have a few minutes where after we drop off my daughter at 8:30, we have to wait till 9 for the library to open up. So we're just kind of doing some work in the car, trying to get, if they have math sheets, then maybe math sheets done. If it's not math and it needs to be computer math, then they can just get some other independent work done. They, meaning my boys at this point, my 6th and 7th grader. So I gave them about, I don't know, about an hour between dropping my daughter off and then like getting into the library and getting started. And so then I have here World Watch News. I might move that. I think it might be a nice break later on. So I might move that one later. And then I've been doing Bible with my boys. We're doing Starting Strong. So that's just a book that Sunlight has scheduled a bit in a past level, and my girls did it individually. And I'm just going to be doing that with my boys. Then we have science. So currently we're doing actions and reactions. So that's a literature-based science. So I have whatever books I need for that. So I'm just reading some books to them about science, and then we'll be moving into earth science pretty soon. And usually around there, I think that's when we took a break and the boys kind of wandered around the library a little bit and looked at what they wanted to look at. And then we came back together and we did history. So I'm reading like the Kingfisher Encyclopedia. And I think that's mostly what I'm going to be doing for history, or I might have a read aloud as well going on during that time. So that's sort of what we're doing for history right now. And then we moved into Beowulf grammar. So we've had one day of this so far, right? So we did Beowulf grammar for a little bit and then move into IEW, which is our second year working on that same level. Like I said, we don't always finish a level. So we're working on fables, myths, and fairy tales. And so we just started the keyword outline for like lesson 11. And my boys have been doing this before, so that wasn't too new for them. And we probably finished up this time at about 12:15. So we had lunch, and actually we were kind of done with the library, so we decided to go to a park with a playground. And so we ate lunch there, and they played on the playground for a little bit. And then once we were done that, we went to my daughter's school where they have a family room. So we sort of hung out in the family room for about an hour. and they finished up any independent work they had. I was trying to get the internet access so they could do typing, but we didn't get it this time. And then my daughter gets off at 2. So I told her to come and look for us in the library before she goes outside. We might be in, not the library, the family room, and we might be there. So that's sort of what we did on Monday. And that's sort of how Mondays and Wednesdays are probably going to go. When it gets rainy, we'll be probably indoors more, longer time in the library, longer time in the family room at my daughter's school. But that's pretty much what we did. And then on the way home, we listened to more of the audiobook because some of these chapters can be very long. So we have an hour in the car so we can listen to history and the audiobook at those times. And then we do quiet time in my family whenever possible. So Mondays and Wednesdays, we don't really have anything scheduled right away after school. So we're going to come home. We're going to get some chores, I think chores out of the way because we can't get chores done in the morning before we rush off for school. So we're going to get some chores done. We're going to have a snack and then we're going to have quiet time. And that is an hour where everybody goes to their rooms and they do something quiet. So they can take a nap or they can read or they just do something quiet for a bit. And then after they're done the quiet time, if they have a tablet, if they're allowed to do tablet time, then they get to do tablet time. We call that quiet time part 2. So if you don't have a tablet time for whatever reason, it is still quiet time. You just can come out of your room and do it somewhere else. So read on the couch or go play outside. They can play outside as well. And then we have free time here. So as you can see, Mondays and Wednesdays are the same so far. And then I have a daughter who is in cheer this year. So I'm taking her to cheer. And cheer is actually, it's on the tennis courts at the school. And I can get so close to our parent partnership program area that I can get internet. So I actually spent my time on the computer last time planning out like chemistry lessons in the back of my car. So I think I'm just going to try to bring some planning. I do have planning, especially for high school. This daughter in particular, all her high school subjects, the 8th grader that is doing high school subjects, I have curriculum that I sort of need to plan out. So it's a good 1 hour where I'm sitting near internet, but in my car, and I can sort of pre-plan some of her work for her. So that is working out really well right now. And then we get back and we have dinner. So my husband's home, and I think he's probably typically going to be preparing dinner on those nights since I'm taking my daughter to cheer. That daughter then has Chinese class, so she has tutoring for an hour starting from 7:30 to 8:30 right now until daylight savings, which we'll have to change the time because they don't change their times in Taiwan, but they do here. So at this point is 7:30 to 8:30. She does Chinese and then we get ready for bed. And my 2 boys right now are reading to us every night. In the past, I had more kids reading to us, but I'm going to keep the boys reading to us 10 minutes each night just to continue having fluency and making sure they understand what they're reading. So they either read to me or my husband. So Mondays and Wednesdays are pretty much exactly the same. The big thing we have on those days is taking my daughter to that parent partnership program. Okay, so Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, they're going to be somewhat the same. These are our at-home days. So this year we are starting at 8:30. I've never started at 8:30 before. I think I tried 8:45 our first school year and that did not work. It was too early. And then we moved to 9 and that has worked well for us. However, since we are leaving the house at like 7:45, 7:50 on the other days, and my kids are getting older and we just need a little more time to get through all our work, I really don't like to personally be working on school in the afternoon. So I'm trying out starting at 8:30 and seeing how that goes this year. So the plan is to start at 8:30 on our home days. Now I start with, here on Tuesday, I typically start with math on the computer for some of my kids, the ones that can handle math first thing in the morning. And then I have one that cannot handle math first thing in the morning. And that child goes to their bedroom and they start working on their independent work, hopefully. If they don't, then they don't. They sometimes take at least an hour to kind of just get ready for school. Like they take some medication to help them focus. And so sometimes it takes them 20 minutes, 40 minutes. And if they're out here with us, they will be whining and they will be complaining, or they'll be harassing people or distracting people. So the solution for that has been that child goes to their room and they have their work and hopefully they'll get started on their work at some point. Whereas the other kids are out here doing math and I'm actively helping them with math. So that's typically how we start our at-home days. On Tuesdays, however, I'm going to be having a weekly meeting with my 8th grader during the first probably 45 minutes, where we're going over any corrections that she needs to do, or any questions that she has, or any assignments that she needs my help with. So I mark my 8th grader and 9th graders work on the weekend. And so then on Monday, it used to be Monday meetings, now it's Tuesday meetings, I have the pile of work that we just go through and do the corrections and stuff. So I'm going to start the day with her. And I have math here. I actually should take that off. That is not true. We don't do math on that day because most of my kids need my help with math. And so I can't help them when I'm in the meeting with her. So we do math 4 days a week, and that's the day we choose not to do it. So they're going to be working on their independent work. And then World Watch News is the huge motivator, especially for the child who is in their bedroom. I tell that child that they need to get usually 2 or 3 things done off of their independent work to join us for World Watch News. And that is like a reward that they want to get. So they may lay around for 40 minutes, but then they'll whip out those things in the last 20 minutes. So that has worked for us. So we do start with World Watch News when we start our group time on the days that we're at home. I have a code for World Watch News that will give you, I believe it's 3 months for free. Check out the description box below for that. And yeah, you can enjoy 3 months for free of this news program that we really enjoy. And I really apologize for my voice. It is so grainy. It's kind of irritating me, but hopefully it's not too irritating. All right, and then we do our group Bible. Right now we're doing Not Consumed. Generally, I would do like multiple things and kind of rotate between the two. But because we only get 3 days a week here with Bible, and it's really hard for us to do it at any other point, I'm just doing Not Consumed right now. And then I do have like a rotation of books that I'm going through that I do after our Not Consumed. So I do have some sort of rotation in there. And we're also still working on a memory verse through song that is part of Sunlight. Then we have Morning Basket. And as you notice, I'm not really talking about the times because the times are not super important. This is just, it's organized for me, and I know how long roughly things take. So about 45 minutes of morning time. We usually do 2 things. I think we have like 6 or 7 things in my morning basket that we rotate through. So we can get through most of it in a week or 2 at the very least. Then after morning basket, typically I will say, go get a snack, go to the bathroom, and come back. So they go grab a snack really quick, go to the bathroom. We come back together, and I start reading our read aloud, and specifically our geography read aloud, because my high schooler is going to be part of our geography, but she's not going to be part of our history. So history we're doing in the car. And even though she has that in her own school, I'm just having her listen to that in the car. But geography, all of my kids are doing that. So I'm doing our geography read alouds at this point. Then we do our group subjects. So about 45 minutes of group subjects. We really can only handle about 20 to 30 minutes per subject, and we just need to keep moving on. That's just our attention spans. So we are working on government, geography, music, and art history, and health. So I have 5 subjects. I do government and geography more often, and then I rotate through the music, art history, and health a little less often, but I just sort of have a rotation that I'm going through with those. Then I have 3 kids doing Spanish. My 6th, 7th, and 9th grader do Spanish. So they stay after group subjects and do Spanish with me about 20 minutes. And my 8th grader goes to her room because she's doing Mandarin Chinese. And yeah, she doesn't want to do Spanish. So then on Tuesdays after Spanish until lunch is the time I'm going to be meeting with my 9th grader. So my 9th grader, she is going to have homework that is assigned from her school, as well as I'm going through corrections of like language arts, or she's doing astronomy for me because she really likes astronomy. So I planned a course for her, and she's doing photography with me. So she's doing a few things with me. So she'll have a little bit of corrections. So we'll go through her corrections, and then I'll probably spend some time working with her on whatever she needs help with from her school. And I might have to do this after lunch as well. I'm not sure how much time we're going to need for this. So we'll see how much she can do homework on her own, her homework from school, and how much she's going to need my help. It's all kind of new to us. We like to eat lunch around 12:30, so that's typically when we try to have lunch. But as you can see, our lunches kind of go all over the place based on our schedule. Once again, we have quiet time after that. And then one of my kids has speech starting at 2:30. And I was so happy for this time. I've always asked for as late as possible of time because this is at the school. And the latest I've ever had was 1:30 for a class. And so getting a 2:30 class is just so nice. I love having no rush on our school day, and even having some quiet time before we have to go is just wonderful. So we have speech for one of my kids that day. So we drive out and do speech on that time. And I also have OT for one of my kids. Okay, I haven't added that yet, but we just confirmed that another one of my kids is going to be doing OT at the exact same time. Now, normally the OT and the speech teacher will work together to make sure my sons are kind of clumped together. And I'm sure they did try to do that, but like the timing is just really good. So I was very happy to have both of those together at the same time, even though they all contacted me separately. And I was just kind of picking time separately. It turned out really well. And then I have, this is funny, then I have another quiet time. Okay, so that's a mistake. So that's going to be more tablet time, outside playtime. It just depends. Like if this ends up not being a quiet time and we have to go, then it will move down to there. So I don't know. There's an error in my schedule. It's just free time. Prepare dinner, free time. So Tuesdays, not too busy, just that one speech and OT outside of the home. Okay, so then Thursday and Friday, same thing. We start the day with math and independent studies. We follow it with World Watch News. We do Bible time. We do morning basket time. I have a shorter morning basket time here because of the parent partnership program that starts at 12:30. So our morning here, Thursday is the most rushed of all of our mornings. So we might just do one thing from our morning basket. We have geography read alouds. We have our group subjects, Spanish, and then lunch or leave for class. So kind of eat a quick lunch and leave for the class. So at 2:30, they start their chemistry class. And I have to go in there because my youngest can't be in classes like that without my supervision, unfortunately. So straight after that, one of my kids has speech. And then straight after that, one of my kids has counseling. And so my other two kids, one doesn't have to come. My ninth grader doesn't have to come. But if she does, she can be in a family room doing some schoolwork during this time. And then we just go to the library and kind of hang out in town while I kind of run these kids around. Then we'll get home and we'll do our quiet time. And then they have tablet time, dinner, etc. And then Friday, we sort of do a normal morning, almost. And I don't have that on here, but we often do a homeschool kind of meetup group. Our church, ever since COVID, we have a very tiny church, but then once COVID hit, most of us started homeschooling. So we naturally formed a homeschooling, not a co-op exactly, but a group, very casual. We kind of chat in a group and we try to meet every Friday. Usually it used to be meeting at like 12:30. I think we're going to move it to 1 because our kids are older now. We just want more time in the morning to get through things. So maybe we'll meet at 1 and we usually just pick a park in the area and say, hey, where do you feel like going today? Oh, my kids are saying this park, so we'll meet at a park. And the moms get to talk and the kids get to play. We'll go on a nature walk or they'll play on the playground. So usually about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just hang out. When it gets rainy, we're going to one family's house and we would have an art lesson, or for sometimes we did like computer, like I did some graphics on the computer, or we did stop motion things, or just like hands-on art projects. So we've done different things through the years, but we've done it every year since we started homeschooling. So that's just kind of not on my schedule, but it does happen. And yeah, so that's Friday. It doesn't have a lot of other things there. Weekends are just depends on what's happening. We don't have a lot of things planned. I do sometimes do delivery driving for like apps, so like Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, things like that. So sometimes I go Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday nights, Monday nights. It just depends on how busy things are. And at this point, things are pretty busy. So just depends on that. We don't have too much going on the weekend other than church. I didn't mention that my kids also are part of 2 youth groups. On Wednesday night, my middle schoolers, it's just middle schoolers, go to a youth group on Wednesday nights. And then on Sunday nights, all my kids, middle schooler and up, go to the youth group at our church. So those are just some social things that they do that are not shown here on the schedule. So I hope that was interesting to you. Just seeing kind of how we organize our day. Like I said, I have time stamps there, I have times there, but it is just the flow that works for us. And I just have some hard starts and stops. We do have a pretty hard start when we leave for school or when we're starting school, because I don't want to be doing school all day. I want to be done at some point. I just can't let my kids just sleep whenever they want and then have to be sort of available all day to do school with them. So I really have to have those hard starts in the morning and I'm going to say, like, we're still flexible. For example, I have been sick. So on Thursday, I said, we're not doing group work. We're going to do independent work and we're not going to start till 10. And so the kids knew that they could sleep in. And then we got up at 10 and they did their group work and stuff. And then, yeah, or I can say, oh, we're not going to do independent work today because we don't have enough time. We have to go somewhere a little earlier. We're just going to do some group work together and we'll start at this time. And so it's flexible, but this is like our typical schedule. This is the schedule. If nothing is happening out of the ordinary, this is the schedule that we will typically be following. But typical is not even normal. Half the time something happens, right? Dentist appointments, or they have like assessments next week that they have to do at the parent partnership program. And so I just adjust our workload based on that. Or I'll say just a group work day or just an independent work day. And we just kind of adapt that way. Okay, so thanks so much for coming today. Don't forget to check out the playlist in the description box below to see what all the other homeschool moms' schedules or routines look like. I can't wait to watch all of them myself. Thank you, and I hope to see you all in a future video. Bye, everyone.